A meeting was held at the Marshalltown Public Library to begin the discussion on a proposed bill that is being called Safe at Home. The bill is designed to help survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, stalking, or others who fear for their safety maintain a confidential address. The Iowa Secretary of State's office is supporting the Safe at Home bill, and Representative Dean Fisher is introducing the bill. Representative Fisher first realized the need for the new law after talking to a victim.
There was a young lady who had reached out to the legislators, a constituent if you will, that was having difficulty with an abusive spouse. She was going through a very difficult custody battle and divorce battle, and she was looking for help. And this was a year and a half, 2 years ago. I thought I'd meet this young lady here, what her problems were, just as a way to kind of educate myself on, as a new legislator, what would happen, what was happening in this arena. And one of the things she's dealing with was consistent threats from this person. She was in fear for her safety of herself and her 2-year-old daughter. And one of the things she brought up sometime later, I found out she had decided to move to another state that had the Safe at Home program, because it's the only way she felt she was going to be safe from this person. And that really bothered me, that a young person like that, trying to raise her family, had to move away from her parents and her immediate family to another state in order to feel safe. So when she brought up this program to me, told me this is why I moved, and this is, we think Iowa should do that, I jumped on that, started looking into it, and here we are. That's why I'm here.
The meeting in Marshalltown was the first public meeting to be held to provide information to Iowans about the Safe at Home bill. Several more meetings around the state are being scheduled. Victim advocate groups were also in attendance at the meeting.
So our agency, again, it's Access. We serve victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, trafficking, stalking, really any form of interpersonal violence. So we serve youth up to pretty much any age of adulthood. And as victim advocates, we assist people in counseling, filing for criminal or civil remedies when they're dealing with an unsafe situation. We assist them in maybe seeking medical care, a lot of different things. We're confidential, we're free. We kind of do anything that person might need to make them feel safer and help them with their healing process. So this will help. It essentially proposes another tool that we know victims can use when they are, in our case, most likely trying to relocate, trying to get off of the radar of their abuser. One thing that isn't always understood is that abusers or stalkers are very keen at figuring out what their victim is up to. They enlist the friends and the family, they look at that person's activities online, they may follow them to work, and so the person trying to break free from that abuser needs any resources possible, and in this case, having a confidential address that perpetrator cannot seek them at would be very helpful in some of our cases, not all, but in enough to make it worthwhile.
Secretary of State Paul Pate led the meeting and received valuable input from key people who will be affected by the proposed bill.
Well, Safe at Home is important because we're trying to give that confidentiality of address to victims of abuse who want to retake their lives and come out of the shadows and be part of our society again. And Secretary of State in other states in the country have stepped up where we've offered that confidentiality system, where we actually serve as a center for those people to have an address system where their stalker, if you will, the person who's abused them, can't find them. We give them that protection, if you will, and we will serve as the clearinghouse to try and forward their various mail and other types of services they might need so that they won't become a victim again that way.
Law enforcement officials from around the state will be providing input on how this proposed legislation will help victims of domestic violence and sexual assault crimes.
Well, I think it's going to affect law enforcement because it's going to help victims, and that's what we're always trying to do, is look for an avenue to be able to help victims and serve victims. And too many times when I work with victims of violent crime, domestic violence, sexual assault, stalking, one of their biggest concerns is safety and where am I going to be able to go and have that safety. And too often the offenders are looking for these folks. They're chasing after these folks, especially in domestic violence cases. They just will not let go. and it's very difficult for the victims to find a safe place just to be, because their address many times is publicized through court records. So I think that this legislation would give victims an opportunity to have that safe home and be able to get a fresh start and get away from their offender.
Well, we're very pleased to be able to kind of launch our forum of town meetings here in Marshalltown, because Representative Fisher is our lead sponsor on this legislation. We're trying to first reach out to the agencies who work with a lot of these victims and get their input on how we can do the best job possible. And also, this whole confidentiality program of Safe at Home is just one step. We know that there's a lot more to it, and we just are really pleased to be a part of the effort, but we want to try to lend as much credibility to the entire package, if you will, what we can do to help these individuals retake their lives.